now that you've gotten your first badge, it's time to head south of Violet City onto Route 32. Now you can finally pass through this guy who was blocking you earlier. He wouldn't let you pass. He likes your Pokemon, thinks they're pretty cool. He's gonna give you a souvenir, a Miracle Seed. That will actually increase the power of your grass-type attacks. If you started with Chikorita, definitely give that to your Chikorita. Or maybe it's Bayleaf by now. Or if you caught like a Bellsprout, go ahead and give it to that too, because you will definitely want the extra power. Now this youngster here, he has just, I think like 1 or 2 Raditas on his team. Nothing too fancy, but if you use Chikorita, well, like I do, this might mean something to you when you reach level 16. Yep, that's right, that's the level when Chikorita evolves into something a little bit more useful. Hooray! Marriland evolved into Bayleaf, yeah. It's not that much better, but I'll take any help I can get. And if you start with Chikorita, you will too. Cyndaquil evolves at level 14, so it'll probably be a Quilava around this time. But Totodile evolves at level 18, so that's quite a ways away. Now, on this route, there's like 2 halves of it. If you take the western half, you can find like these fields and you can get those 2 items there. Bullet Seed's pretty worthless. But if you take the eastern side, you'll find like this bridge. There's no real wild Pokemon for you to fight here, just a bunch of fishermen, which you don't even have to fight if you don't want to. I recommend fighting Ralph though, because after beating him, he will give you his phone number, and then he will call you just in case there's a rare Pokemon in the area. Quillfish, in case it can be found rather easily. So that's rather handy. Otherwise you can fight those 2 up there if you want. Okay, so further south you'll find a Pokemon Center, as a matter of fact, and you'll also find this guy. He wants to sell you a Slowpoke for 1 million Poké-Dollars. But you of course can't have that much, and you won't even right now anyway. Now up there, I think if it's Friday, a person will be there and they'll give you this poison barb thing, I think. I don't remember, it's not Friday when I play this. But in the Pokemon Center, you want to talk to this guy right here, and he will give you an old rod if you answer yes to his question. Now that will allow you to fish up mostly Magikarps, which aren't that great if you fish in the water. Or sometimes you might find things like Poliwags. There's a few other things. That badge is from Violet City. You beat Falconer? Yeah, I did. Go past this guy, and there's this rock you can smash right here. Go ahead and do so. Remember, there's also rocks back in like Violet City in the Dark Cave that you can get some extra items at. But right here, you can get the Shell Bell. What that does is you give it to your Pokemon as like a held item, and then whenever it does damage to another Pokemon, it'll heal like 1/16 of the damage dealt to your own hit points. Like it'll heal that much. So it's alright. I think it slows the battles down a bit more. Okay, so here we are inside the Union Cave. If you go west a little bit, you'll find like this fork in the road. You can either go north or you can go south. The proper way to go through is south. This guy, he has a Vulpix on his team if you go north. And Vulpix, you gotta be careful around. You do not want to hit it with fire attacks, because it's completely immune to it thanks to its Flash Fire ability. It's slightly annoying, particularly if you're using Cyndaquil or Chikorita, if that's what you started with. There's an X-Speed hidden down here. Right now I'm in the basement. You can find TM39, which is Rock Tomb. It's a okay rock-type attack. They're rather limited right now, so you know you might want to consider it teaching to one of your Pokemon. It'll help against Bugsy, the upcoming gym leader, uses bug types. There's also, you know, there's nothing too great down there, but might as well check it out. Right down south, if you take the southern path, you'll find this hiker here. He uses an Onix, level 11. Now, one thing you need to be careful with is if you use Cyndaquil, you're going to have a hard time beating all these rock-type Pokemon. You're not, I mean, unless you train something else up, your options are going to be limited. You are better off to use Ember against like Geodudes and Onyxes, even though it's not very effective, you're still better off using that. You do not want to use physical-based attacks against any of those rock types. So that's what I'd recommend if you're stuck with them. Same goes for Coughing. It has a lot of defense. So, you know, special-based attacks are nice against it. That guy had 2 Coughings, by the way. I just showed it wrong. Over here, you have to go a bit and you'll find a potion. There's a ton of wild Pokemon in here. Just Geodudes, Zubats, Rattatas, and the occasional Onyx, I do so believe. Also, if you're playing in HeartGold, you can find Sandshrew here, particularly in the basement. And that makes a fairly sweet Pokemon to use. To give it a little bit of TLC and train it up properly. Yeah, so the Pokemaniacs look pretty crazy in this game, in that big suit. And right over to the southeast, you'll find the exit to the Union Cave, along with an awakening. Woohoo! So here we are on Route 33. It's raining really hard. That means that fire-type attacks are weakened and water-type attacks, they have their power boosted. There's 2 apricorn trees over there and a big patch of grass, and there's also 1 hiker left. Again, if you're using Cyndaquil, or probably at this point Quilava, be careful in this fight, because he uses a Geodude, and Ember isn't going to work so well thanks to the rain. So it's a bit annoying. On top of a Geodude, he also has a Machop, which is a fighting type Pokemon. I did a little switch training there with my Onix. Who are you? We are Team Rocket. What? We broke up 3 years ago or whatever. They've come back. Shut up and beat it. Yeah, so he just totally bullies that guy around. And he's going to be blocking this place. Nothing's going on. It's unsafe to go in there. I'm just standing there to make sure people won't go in. Oh, good Samaritan, aren't I? Yeah, you betcha. Slowpoke has disappeared from town. I heard that their tails are being sold somewhere. That's terrible. Well, we're going to have to look into this on the next episode when we take on the Slowpoke well.